Greetings and welcome to the second episode of the Acentury Channel. I'm David Shin, your host, and today we have a familiar guest, Leo Lin, VP of Solutions Development at Acentury Inc. Today we talk about 5G applications. I start by posing Leo with a question. Is what we're seeing now with 5G applications just on the cusp of being adopted, very similar to what we saw in the mid-2000s when 3G tech and broad-speed, high-speed internet was very much a thing, but not quite broadly adopted? I catch up with him here.
Yeah, I will say it will be similar. History is always repeating, I think, right? Just if you remember, at that time, as people are debating, or even the 3G or something, why we need that kind of bandwidth or something, because we only have voice or some very little data is enough. Why do people need a bandwidth on their mobile phone or something like that, right? And then at that time, we seriously we didn't need that kind of thing at that time, right? But after iPhone released the first unit at I think late 2000, I think around 2007 or something, then people start realizing, oh, so bandwidth is not enough. We need to have a lot of thing, bandwidth or something fancy or this kind of thing to for the consumer, right? And then the video will become the major application on the device. So at that time, they start complaining, oh, we don't have enough bandwidth, we need speed, we need a lot of this kind of thing, right? The 5G probably I will say it will be the same, because right now, if you ask around, right, as to why we need a 5G or something, consumer they don't need 5G or something, mostly should be the to be business, right, for the enterprise customer. But you never know, right? Once you have 5G platform or network ready, then we may see the same kind of thing happen, just like whatever, maybe another Apple or another device company, they realize that they develop some new product or some new application, then start eating up the bandwidth. Even 5G is not enough at that time, right? Then we start looking for more bandwidth or less latency or this kind of thing. We don't know, right? But the one thing we should know is we should have 5G network ready as soon as possible, right? And then the market will respond for sure, right? That's my view, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
What I don't think these are not known applications, 5G applications in the industry, but can you just elaborate, just for those that don't know, some of the unique 5G applications that you've seen that are particularly interesting? So I think you mentioned one that was for potentially ambulances and first responders. Can you just comment on that a little bit?
Yeah, that one is I saw this kind of application in Asian market actually, and then the idea is they build the 5G enable ambulance. They enable the 5G network on the ambulance so that they can move some equipment, some medical equipment on the ambulance, and then when they, for example, when they pick up the patient or pick up some people who's get some injured in an accident or something, the doctor actually can do some measurement right away. They don't have to wait until the patient arrive at the hospital. So that means that they can react this kind of thing as soon as possible. So once they arrive at the hospital, they can do the operation, whatever operation, they can do it right away, right? So they don't have to wait until by that time they can reduce the death rate or something, or this kind of thing, right? That's the very useful one. But yeah, for sure, it's for the enterprise. This kind of application, it won't be for the consumer. And then also it's for the government. They're pushing a lot on this kind of thing, right? The 5G ambulance. That's what I saw. That's probably the first case I saw in Asia.
Interesting. I think that your emphasis on the enterprise applications
Hmm.
is probably, um, I would say, it would be difficult. What I'm trying to say is it'd be very difficult to see a consumer use case at this point in time. I mean,
Yeah,
outside of maybe gaming. I mean,
the gaming, or maybe for example, the retail market or the tourism market or something. For example, if you want to, for example, you want to, before you book your travel, right? You want to experience some destination you prefer. For example, if you're Cuba or Mexico or something, if you but I can't decide. I don't know where to go, right? Which one is better or something, and then by this way, and then the tourism company probably can send you the VR glasses. They have people on each destination. They can do some live demo to you, and then bring you to some beach or hotel or restaurant or some, I don't know, some place, some tourism place in the at the destination, and then you can experience something first. Then it will help you to make a decision. Oh, maybe I like Mexico better, or I like Cuba better, or something. And by this way, but even this is, I will still consider this as enterprise application, because you're, for the 5G point of view, you're targeting the tourism company or those retail company or something, right? But the consumer only use the VR glasses to experience something, right?
yeah, I think that I agree with you. I think it's still considered a B2B case. I would
Mm-hmm,
also say that in order for that experience to happen, if it's going to happen in your home,
mm-hmm,
then outside of the glasses, you're going to need a 5G device, something like, say, the iPhone. And then you're definitely going to have a modem and potentially a router that's also 5G enabled, depending on where you are in the home. So there's a lot of preliminary devices that sort of mandatory devices that you need in order for that to work. Or maybe that happens at the mall, for example. So if you're at the mall or some sort of a 5G enabled building, then that would be a little bit more plausible because you don't have to have all those devices ahead of time. Is that
mm-hmm.
correct? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that I think you're right. I think the consumer use case is difficult to see right at this moment, given that it's not just the use cases, but it's also the investment requirements for the devices and the equipment ahead of time. But
Mm-hmm,
that's not to say that there could be other means to do that. I know that you and I had an interesting conversation
mm-hmm,
about bands and music or
mm-hmm,
orchestras. This one probably isn't going to happen, but it was just interesting to sort of talk about it because one of the biggest issues for a musician is that in order to to do a rehearsal of any sort, you need to do it live. You can't do it. You have to do it in person. There's too much latency today. Is it possible if you had a 5G enabled home and others, could it be possible to experience a rehearsal with no latency? And I think your answer was it's possible, but there's a bunch of things that need to happen. First of all, you'd have to receive the signal. It has to be consolidated somewhere. Then it needs to send back to the people doing the rehearsal. Not to mention that each of their homes have to be 5G enabled as well. So there's a lot of challenges for that to work. And I mean, it's an interesting use case, but and I guess the final part in all of that is that they need to be somewhat local. You can't rehearse with somebody in someone in Canada and then someone in, say, Asia. It
Yeah,
just
yeah.
won't work.
For this kind of thing, right? Because there will be a lot of interactive activity,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So basically, you have to be close.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, the latency is hard to handle. It's hard to handle, right?
Right.
So maybe within a city or something, you can do that. But yeah, for sure, it's a very interesting application. And then the market, I don't know, the market will be big or not enough or not to support this kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I
I
will,
mean, yeah, I agree with you, Leo. I mean, it'd
yeah,
probably be just easier to get together, right?
yeah. Like I said, right, we are the telecom guy, right? So for this kind of application, we will have to rely on those musicians or something they who really understand that kind of industry. They know this kind of thing in detail. What we can do is we provide them the platform on the telecom side, and then on top of that, they can do a lot of things, right? For example, they can give us some requirement like a latency, what's the minimum latency they need, and how much bandwidth they need, all these kind of thing, right? They need to tell, we need to work together to overcome this kind of challenge, right?
For
Yeah,
sure. For
yeah.
sure. I mean, that
Yeah, the
leads
good
in.
thing,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
yes,
Go ahead.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, the good thing is we are right now we are building our own 5G standalone end-to-end network in our office, in our lab actually, and then that will be the platform, I believe all the enterprise customer vertical for each vertical market, they should have this kind of thing to play around. So what we can do, right, is from the telecom point of view, we provide this kind of platform, but we kind of a lack of the knowledge, lack of those kind of knowledge per vertical market. So, and then we have to involve those experts in that kind of market, and then they understand what they're going to use. They understand the KPI. They understand a lot in their own industry. So we can definitely work together. Or they can to build their own 5G lab so that they can develop their own 5G application for their own industry. I think that will be the benefit that Accenture can provide, right?
For
Yeah.
sure. For sure. I think that, I'm recalling Apple's Livecast again, and they built their own lab, which was
Yeah, Apple,
obviously
yeah.
to their
It's
best
that
benefit.
kind of lab is very expensive. All
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
think that the even though for those particular for those SMB customer, I don't think that they can afford that kind of thing. It's too expensive,
for
right?
sure, for
What we are
sure,
building is like it's for those SMB customer. They can afford it, right? And then it's simple enough. They can use it. They can maintain it by themselves. On top of that, they can build their own application, 5G application, and then they can verify. They can play around, and then when the system is ready, and then also the when the carrier they had 5G network ready, then they can easily migrate to the production 5G network. Then they can push to the market, right?
very interesting and very exciting, Leo. I think it'd be definitely worth our time to, once you guys are available, and once you guys have the lab, it'd be interesting to just to tour it, have a look,
Yeah.
investigate what some of the things that you're doing and some of the things that you're planning. So we can certainly reserve that for a follow-on conversation.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. We'll let you know when our platform is up and running. Then we probably need some time to tune the system to have the best performance. But yeah, again, right, best performance is a kind of tricky, right? Sometimes this vertical market, the definition for the performance is different from the other vertical market. So we need to have a couple of predefined parameters, and then for different vertical market. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that just working together in partnership and in concert, I think that's probably the best way to do these things. So very excited to hear more about it. So thanks again, Leo, for
Okay.
today's conversation.
Yep. Thanks
Appreciate
for
your
having
time.
me. Yeah.
No
Thanks.
worries.